Well, hello, my lovely dishers. It is time to dish with Dee. It is part 2 of the Q&A. So if you're back for part 2, thank you. Because I don't know how well this is going to be with you guys, but if you're watching part 2, I so appreciate it. So this is part 2 of the Q&A. And if you haven't seen part 1, I will link part 1 in the cards up there. There's a little eye that you hit. It gives you the card, which just gives you the video. You can just go run to that video and you can watch it. So I appreciate it. So pull the questions up again. We're going to continue where we were. All right. Tell us about when you first started your channel. What was involved and what would you recommend to someone on the fence about starting one? Nothing. It's pretty easy. You don't have to have really anything. You just have to have, you have to have obviously a YouTube account. Anybody with a YouTube account can make a channel. Simple as that. You have to get the right kind of graphics, of course, and get a theme for what you want and stick with that theme is something I would say. It's fun. It's a lot of work, and you just meet so many wonderful people. So I definitely would recommend doing it. For me, it was more about accountability. I needed to get to goal and I needed to be more accountable. So I started a YouTube channel. Why not be more accountable to all of you as a, so that helped me, and it grew into something I didn't really expect. And that's one thing I would like to explain to you. If you start a YouTube channel, you will start a community of followers, and some of them are the best in the world. And there's a few nasty people. And remember, when you have good, you have to have bad. You have to have balance. So with all the good, you do have a few bad. But you know what? Remember, people behind the keyboard are warriors. And I wouldn't take a lot of what people say because they would never say it to your face. So realize that. But absolutely, I think it's fun and it's different and it's everybody's doing it. So it's kind of at this point like, why not? It's just it's a way to communicate with people in a broad spectrum. So I absolutely would recommend it. All right. What are your substitutions for higher point ingredients in recipes? That's a good one. That's a deep one. That's one that's really, I didn't really read these ahead of time because I like off the cuff. Then I don't like people who give you that you know what they're going to say. I never read anything ahead of time. Butter and oil. Sometimes you could use light butter, less oil. Like if it calls for 4 tablespoons, try 2 tablespoons. Same thing with, a lot of people will say, well, butter, you know what? You try the recipe with your substitutions and you see how it tastes. If it's good enough for you, then don't worry about what other people think. That's how I live life. Applesauce a lot of times for oil or butter. Eggs, since they're 0 point for me, I don't worry about those. I don't use a lot of, I always use the fat-free dairies. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with fat-free ingredients. No food is inherently bad, so I don't really have a problem using anything that's fat-free. Especially if it's mixed into something. It's not like you're drinking the fat-free, and you're eating it in its original form. You're mixing it, so you really, and I substitute yogurt for sour cream, and nobody notices. I do that in my dressings and everything. So since yogurt is a 0 point food for me, I use that in a lot of things. So they're probably my top ones. There really isn't any other thing. I mean, like I said, butter, oils, they're your big ones. So you just you try light, or you could just try applesauce. If it's not a baked good, if it's like a savory dish, you can't put applesauce, obviously. So I would go with light butter or use less. I'm a lover of extra virgin olive oil. I would sub out extra virgin olive oil for butter. I think it's just a better fat, but that's just me. You can, like I said, you play around with your things and see how you like them. I'm a lifetime member but not joined with WW at the moment because of all the focusing using the app. Oh, I know that. I only will use pen and paper, so no need for me to pay for an app I wouldn't use. My question is, I can follow the blue plan myself, but I am intrigued by the additions of points. If you eat a lot of vegetables, I'm wondering if you think this would work. If you're going to follow the blue plan, then follow the blue plan. I wouldn't add the the points getting for vegetables that they have in personal points to that, because it changes it a little bit, because I think it's just for me, that's science worked for that. So I really wouldn't combine that. I wouldn't say don't eat the vegetables, eat them, but I wouldn't gain a point from them. Yeah, so that's what I would say. If you're going to do blue, but I wouldn't add the point for the vegetables. Not saying you shouldn't eat more vegetables. God, I'm so thankful I found your YouTube recently. Aw, I've been on off WW most of my adult life. I have success losing weight, but not keeping it off. I had COVID in October and lost my taste and smell, but continued to eat excess even though I couldn't taste anything. That's when I realized I would continue to yo-yo. Didn't change my relationship with food. I am now back on WW and struggling. I would like to incorporate mindful eating techniques. What do you thought on mindful eating techniques? I do have tips on mindful eating techniques. I was a very quick eater. I say that all the time. I wolfed my food down. Now what I try to do is I try to put my fork down, drink in between, wipe my face, have conversation, then pick up my fork. I cut things in microscopic bites. Before I would just grab, a big piece of steak, and now I have it, what could be one really decent bite, I make it into two. Same thing with little bites of things. I have those Charlie and the PB Factory mini poppers, and they're small. You could pop them in your mouth and eat them. I get 3 bites out of it. So I savor things, and it takes me a little bit longer to eat something. So definitely, and I think when you take your time, you enjoy things more. Like not having a taste, I think you eat in excess because you're looking, maybe if I eat this, I'll taste it. I know at one point I felt like my taste was getting weak. I never lost it, but I felt during all the illnesses I had over the past month, I felt like I couldn't taste things strong enough. So I would keep trying this and I'd trying that, just like see if I could taste it. And then I wound up eating way too much. So sit there and savor every bite. And like I said, if you're living with somebody, have a conversation at the table. Put your fork down, drink. That's how you get more water and more fluid in. Drink in between. So those are my, because you want to enjoy your eating. Enjoy the food that you're eating. You don't want to rush through it, and because you want to really, really remember that you ate it. And sometimes when we eat really fast, we don't remember we ate it. And I'm like, what do we have? Did I like that? I don't know. But if you sit there and you savor it, and my husband laughs because I'm the person that cuts their salad to infinity. Chop, chop. I'm constantly cutting with a knife and a fork, and I'm going like this because this way it gets the dressing all over the place, and it takes me a little bit longer to eat it. So that's another tip. If you've been off plan for months, what step 1, 2, and 3 to get back on track when doing it feels overwhelming? Well, first, step 1 is find a plan you can follow. Step 2, get in the foods you need to follow that plan. Step 3, get rid of the foods that really set you off. Like for me, certain foods I can't have around. I just can't. And the family knows that. And if they're around, I don't know where they're at. And if I don't see them, I don't think about them, which is a big step for me because I used to go hunting for them. Step 4, I'm adding a step. Find a community that you can talk to, voice when you're having a bad day, looking for support. The community here is fabulous. The lives are so for that. You can come on to a live 7 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday through Thursday, and chat with us. And if you're having a bad day, tell us. And then somebody, I guarantee you, will pick you up and give you the boost that you need. So definitely, and know that it's normal to go off track. No, it's normal to sit there and have something you didn't plan. It's, we're not on a diet. We're not rigid. We can't just sit there and say, oh, I'm going to have a perfect week. Nobody does. No, there are some things you have that you just are out of your control, and you eat it for whatever reason that is. Don't beat yourself up about it. Back on track with your next meal. Don't sit there and wait the next day or the next week. The next meal, you're back in the saddle again. Please explain how you get extra points for eating vegetables, drinking water, etc. Does it automatically give you the points, or do you have to enter it yourself? In the app, certain things will enter themselves if you put it, like if it's a recipe you have in the recipe builder and you have a serving and it knows there's a cup of vegetables, it will automatically put it in. If you don't see the little vegetable icon go up, there is a quick ad right before you get to your meals. It's vegetables and water and I think breakfast. So you just hit the plus sign, it'll add your vegetables in. Same thing with water. Make sure you adjust the water setting to the size of water. Like say you have 16-ounce water bottles or a 16-ounce glass. I do 8 ounces because that's how I drink my water, in 8-ounce increments. So my water is measured in 8 ounces. So every time I drink 8 ounces, I hit the water bottle, the little water thing, and a little water wave comes up and gives me, and you have to get 60 ounces in order to gain a point. Do you count other beverages? That's up to you. WW says only water and the sparkling water with nothing in it. You know, my leader had said, you know, the police isn't there watching you. If you want to count your unsweetened tea, by all means do that. What I try to do is, for every glass of unsweetened tea I have, I try to have a glass of water. So yes, I'm not drinking 60 ounces of water, but I am drinking maybe 25 ounces of water that I didn't drink before. So it is helping me drink more water per se, but it's not actually, I'm not, and I admit that. I sit there, I don't lie, I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh yeah, I'm drinking the water. No, I'm not, because for me, and this is just my opinion, I don't think I will continue to drink that. I mean, it's great to do if you're struggling and you wanna, like, you know, what could you do to kickstart your weight loss? Drink water. That's a perfect thing to do. But can I continue to drink that amount of water continuously? I know I can't. So I do something that I know that I can continue. That's how I feel. But, you know, we all do it this differently. But I always think it's so good to eat vegetables because vegetables are never going to be harmful to us. They're only going to help us. Do I agree that we should be getting points for that? Not really. I don't understand that. Because you could have, you know, someone eating a lot of vegetables and also eating a lot of food, because you're getting points for it. So am I going to eat vegetables so I can eat cake? No, I eat cake anyway. I don't need my vegetables to eat cake. But if you're eating vegetables, you're getting points to eat, and I don't want to use the word junk, but not so healthy options. I don't see how that really flies. But if it works, then who am I? I always say that. Who am I? All right, let's go. I'm going to go to my, I do have some in, all right, the community post on YouTube. Let's pull that up. All right. I am doing WW Digital only. I am 139 pounds and happily there. Years ago, I was Lifetime, and back then they said I had to be 130 to be at goal. It was too hard for me to be there. I made excuses and ended up leaving Weight Watchers. Over the last 20 years, I had it all back, but I finally came back almost 2 years ago and have lost and back up and down to where I am happy. I don't think you can be Lifetime on digital. You can be you can't be Lifetime on digital. You have to be a meetings member to be Lifetime. You can go in towards the end, like say you've lost all your weight on digital and you only have, like, you know, I think you have to lose at least, they change it. It was at 5 pounds now, maybe 5 or 2. Then again, it's wellness, so maybe you don't have to lose anything. They're letting, you know my feeling on that. But I think you have to lose at least 5 pounds. I don't know that for a fact. I would say definitely 10. That's definite. So you could lose up to all of that and then go in there for the last few pounds and then become Lifetime. I recommend that because if you're paying all this money and you want to continue with your app, that's something you have to do. But once you're Lifetime, you have to go in once a month to weigh in to renew your e-tools for the following month. They make Lifetimers go in once a month to make sure you're still at goal. You have 2 pounds to go up over your goal, and you know, you get your little certificate. What is the most helpful weight loss information you can give us? What I've learned is not every day's good. And it's okay to not have every day good. You know, sometimes, like I said in my vlog this morning, sometimes weekends are bad. But if you're on point 5 days and then the other 2 are a little bit, I wouldn't say hot mess, but a little bit looser than the other 5, you'll do okay. Remember, we're not on my big, and I'm going to say it as I said it a million times, we're not on a diet here. Because if you have that diet mentality, it just doesn't click. Like for me, it had to be, what could I do to live the rest of my life? Because you do all this work, you want to, you know, you don't want to gain it all back. How do I hold on to this, you know, loss? What do I need to do? And you had to figure out, you know, a plan for you that you can do. A doable plan, not just a plan that they're going to tell you. And get a weight that's doable. You know, I always say this all the time. Weight Watchers comes up with these goal weights are a little unrealistic. They don't use a special chart. When they said that your age, height, and weight. You know, if I'm the same age now that I was when I was, well, not the same age, but the same weight range when I was now than when I was 20. So that hasn't really changed. So I'm not understanding why they say that. I mean, do I want to be 130 pounds? I mean, yeah, could I lose that? I could do anything. But could I stay there and be happy? Because that's the end goal. The end goal isn't not to be skinny. The end goal is to be satisfied and happy and content. If I'm sitting there struggling with a weight that's unrealistic, I'm going to spend the rest of my life struggling at it. And do you want to spend the rest of your life on a diet? Because that's what, in order to maintain an unmaintainable weight, you have to live your life on a diet. And I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not. But if you are, then kudos to you. Like I always say, you have to do what's best for you and what works for you. But for me, I just can't. I have to, like, I'm 55 right now, and I know I have at least a good 20, 25 years left on this earth, I hope. And I want to do things, and I don't want to have to sit there and worry that, oh my gosh, how am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? I can't. When my husband wants to go out to dinner, I can't go, I don't have any points. I can't. No, I can, because I'm at a decent weight where there's some flexibility there. And that's what I look for in a plan. So my best tip is get a realistic goal, something you can maintain. And because to go through all this only to have gained it back because it was unmaintainable, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I have for good or bad left Weight Watchers. I feel like a new plan wasn't working for me. I am still on plan, but it's healthy. iHealthy formula known as iTrackBites. So my question is, you said you used it before. Did you like it? Did it work for you? Yes, I did iTrackBites originally back when I started Weight Watchers in 2016. They didn't offer the app. It was a separate price, and I wasn't willing to pay the separate price. So I was able to get iTrackBites and follow right on there. It was the same exact plan. Back then it was Smart Points. I was able to follow great, you know, and all I had to do was, and that time I was on the free app, so it didn't cost me anything. And then they offered a special that included the app, and that's the only reason I switched, because I still probably would have been on healthy. Then when I went back, as I left for a while, and then when I went back, it was the same deal about the app again. But this time it was freestyle, but you had to pay for it on iTrackBites. So all I did was, I still used the free version, which was the Smart Points, the green plan. I just knew what my 0 point foods were, and I would just toggle the 0 on there and kept track of it. And it worked, you know, up until probably the last 20 pounds is when I went back on the app again, another special. So that's, yeah. I still have iTrackBites on my phone, and I still work in the community. I still look on there. I still keep my weight in there. I track calories in there. So yeah, I definitely think iTrackBites is a great plan. If you're going to stick with blue, green, and purple, or Smart Points, or Points Plus, or anything, an older plan, it is a great app, and I have nothing ever negative to say about iTrackBites. And on a personal note, how old are your boys, and what are they studying? I have 3 boys, 29. And Patrick isn't studying anything. He graduated. He works for not our local newspaper, but it's this newspaper down the shore, the Press of Atlantic City. He writes high school sports. That's always been what he wanted to do, so that's what he does. Middle boy Timothy is 23. He'll be 24 this year. I think about it. I always say, the way I figure Timmy's age is how many years we've been married and -1. We'll be married 25 years this year. Oh my goodness. So Timmy will be 24. And he's in this school. He's getting his master's in theology and philosophy. He wants to be a diocesan priest in the Catholic Church. So yeah, he just started his second 4 years of grad school. Yeah, first 4 years of grad school. And it's funny when you think about Timmy was my non-student, my non-reader. You would never, if people see his teachers, I always bring his stuff in to show them, because he was never the studious one of the family. And the fact that he's like excelling in something, it's because he loves what he does. He loves religion. He loves theology. He loves the church. Just goes to show, when you do something you love, you do fabulously at it. So that's his calling. And if you've ever met him, you'd see it immediately. And then there's Peter, the baby. He's 22. They were Irish twins, Timmy and Peter, 11 and a half months apart. Yeah, that's a whole other video. He's trying to find himself. He was in school for about a year. Doesn't know what he wants to do with himself. Doesn't want to go at a job he hates. Doesn't want, so that one's up in the air. He's working currently, just trying to find a career that he wants to do. I said, you better get moving. You're getting older, bud. I always say, you don't have to go to school, you know, but don't be blaming me down the line that, oh, you should have made me go. You know, and he was the one I didn't worry about. Through school, out of all three of them, he was the one I thought was going to go places, because he was the kind of student that every teacher, when I'd go for a conference, loved to teach. She'd say, I love to teach Peter because he listens. He never studied because he listened in school, absorbed everything, and just knew it. And it just shocks me that he didn't want to. That's why I said, that's why you were dumbfounded, because you were the one I didn't think I had to worry about. The other two, yeah. A little bit worried about that one. So that's it. Yeah, you don't see them. People ask that all the time, why don't we see your family? They're camera shy. I mean, Patrick will, the oldest, occasionally. And if you don't know Patrick, I'll give you a little quick, because I don't want this video to be too long. Steve was a widow when we met. He was widowed, and Patrick was 3. His mother passed away of a brain tumor, a malignant brain tumor. So technically Patrick is my stepson, but he has the same genetic condition his mother had, and he has 3 brain tumors in his head. He actually had 4. One was operated on. He suffers from a condition called neurofibromatosis, which produces tumors along the nerve endings, and a lot of times they go in the brain. So he does have 3. I think 2 are inoperable, but he's had them since he's been in like 3rd grade. So they just check on them every once in a while, and he did have one removed back 2015, and he wound up having a post-op stroke. Yeah, you know, he's had a road, but you know what? He rehabbed, got back on his feet, finished high school, went to college, graduated top of his class. So there's a lot to be said when you're motivated to do something that you want to do, and he wanted to be a writer, so he's done that. So our life here is, he's the only one that's outspoken, Patrick. He'll get on, he'll taste stuff for me, or he'll, I would be very shocked if you ever seen anyone else, but you never know. You remember, maybe one day I'll talk him into it, but they're just, they don't want to get in front of the camera or behind the camera. I mean, Peter helps him behind the scenes and a lot of things, and editing and my website and all that, but he doesn't. They don't want to be in front. I respect that, they're quiet kids, and they're just not, there's more quiet and reserved. They're just not, they're not out there to show off or anything. So it is what it is. We all are who we are. And the funny thing is, if you knew me back when I was really young, you would never think this would be me talking. It's crazy. So they probably take after me at this point, but maybe they'll change when they get older. We'll see. But that is it for the Q&A. I don't know. I did think that there was a few more questions that you were leaving in yesterday's post. I don't know if I can find them. Let's see if I can find them, because I might not be able to find the post. But I appreciate you guys writing in the questions. It was fun. I didn't get any risque ones, which I would have answered them probably. Yeah, I would have. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe I wouldn't have. Depending on what they were. Because if I could pull up yesterday's. I don't think I can, because I don't think I could find it. Yeah, I probably won't be able to find the video from yesterday, because I know some people did ask a couple questions on there. Yeah, can't find it. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed these, give them a thumbs up. We will do these more often. There were some really good questions, and it might help somebody who has the same thought, was just too afraid to ask. So if you haven't already subscribed, come to the District G community and hit that subscribe button. I know I have a lot of people that watch and aren't subscribed. I'm thrilled that you watch. So, but if you want to subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything but an email. You have to have an email and have